Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, Living Our American Dream. Today I'm going to tell you about my new 2018 Jeep Wrangler JL. Let me show you. So I bought this 2018 Jeep Wrangler JL about 2 weeks ago, and I've always wanted one of these things. A lot of people just like the Jeep Wrangler because of the way that it looks, the ruggedness, the four-wheel drive capability. These things come trail rated and a whole bunch of options on there that you can get in the Rubicon, and all kinds of things you can get on these vehicles, and they're going to push, you know, $50,000 or more. In my case, I wanted a Jeep Wrangler because of its convertible ability. For me, I'm not going to do off-roading with this thing. I'm not going to take it to the sand dunes. I don't rock climb. I am the guy that's going to use this for my everyday driver back and forth to work. This is going to be my vehicle. And when I looked at all of the other vehicles that I could get, cars, trucks, SUVs, you know, I've had cars, I've had trucks, I've had SUVs. I've never had a Jeep Wrangler before, and I've always wanted one because in mid-Michigan here, we do get some pretty nice weather in the summertime, and I have always liked the idea of being able to take the top off of these things and the doors off and just go riding. Quite honestly, for a while I wanted a motorcycle. I've always driven pickup trucks and that kind of stuff, and I wanted a motorcycle, and in discussing it with my wife, we just, you know, we felt like the safety aspect of a motorcycle just probably wasn't safe enough and wasn't the right thing for us to do with small kids and responsibilities. And so my negotiation was to try to get a vehicle that I could enjoy the open air experience like I would have on a motorcycle, but also be able to kind of have four wheels on the ground and still be a little bit safer. So we ended up with this Jeep Wrangler, and I am super excited about it. I'm going to take you around right now, and I'm going to just kind of open the doors and show you a few things about it, and then I'll tell you why I got the options in this vehicle that I got, and kind of walk you through the purchasing process and all that stuff. So let's take a look at it. So Michael's going to help us out right here. Let's start in the driver's door here. Go ahead and open the driver's door, Mike. I had tried out the Jeep Wrangler JK for a while, and my particular preference for the vehicle was going to be with a manual transmission. And the reason I chose a manual transmission is, you know, there's a lot of gadgets and things on vehicles now, and there's side sensors and backup sensors and cameras and all kinds of things that you can get. And, you know, call me old-fashioned, but I'm that guy that just wants to get back to a regular driving experience where I control the vehicle. I'm in charge of, you know, everything that happens with the vehicle. So I chose the manual transmission. And on the JL, I don't see many YouTube videos on this, but the shift lever here on the JKs, when I would drive those vehicles, I have seen a few instances where they have a lot of shift lever shake, and even on a smooth road. And when they went to the JL, they kind of redesigned this transmission, and it's much smoother. But in this interior, we have obviously your steering wheel here, your standard 3 pedals down here. We've got the touch screen over here. It's got the Uconnect connections, but it is not the fancy one. It's not the big one that has Apple CarPlay and all that other stuff. It's just a basic version of Uconnect. It does have air conditioning. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It does not have, this would be where your power window switches would go. It does not have power windows. I elected to go with the model that has just crank windows. You can't see that very good, but it would be right here, just the regular crank windows and manual locks. That kept some of the costs down on this vehicle. And again, I'm not really a gadgety guy. I will be honest with you, not having the power locks is something that you have to get back used to, back to when I was a teenager. But so far so good. I'm really happy with this vehicle. The few options that it does have, if I back up, you can obviously see that I have the hardtop. I wanted the hardtop because in Michigan we have long winters, fall, spring, and those are the seasons where, you know, you're going to probably want this vehicle to just be more of a typical SUV and not have that flapping around top on there. And I know you Jeep guys will probably hammer me on this, but regardless, this hardtop is going to be more durable and sturdier in the long term, since I intend to keep this vehicle for at least a decade. In the long term, it's just gonna hold up better, in my opinion. The next option you'll see is it does have the tinted windows, and it does have these running boards on here. Now, I did not order this vehicle. Before we go into the details of the purchase, let me just finish on the interior. So if you watch Jeep videos, you'll know the interiors of these things have been refined over the years. Mike, jump in there and let's see how much room we got in this back seat. This is without moving the front seats forward. Michael is my oldest. Mike, what are you? Almost 12, right? And he's a pretty good sized kid. Plenty of knee room there. I do have 3 kids. We are out of the car seat phase, so I don't have to put booster seats or car seats or anything in here, so that works out for us. I do know if you were going to put 2 car seats in here, I think you could get away with that. Nowadays, there's enough room in these vehicles to, have the car seats in there. 3, probably not, but 2 I think would work. And then around the back here, they do have a backup camera that's standard. Now, if I was going to order the vehicle and I had an option, I probably wouldn't buy that. To be quite honest, I don't use it. But it is standard on the vehicle, so that's what you get. The back end, the cargo area does have a nice little cargo area. I keep a box in here for my work. I have some gear in there that's required for my work sometimes. And then Mike, lift that bottom panel up right there. Yep, just grab that. So under here, we keep a first aid kit, extra pair of glasses, a tool kit down here, a map. Underneath that map, move the map, Mike. There's a tow strap under there and a few things. So just kind of the basic things that you might need. There's a nice little compartment down there to hold those. The only thing this vehicle doesn't have that I'll add is a trailer hitch. It didn't come with one, but that's something that we can get. You'll notice here I still have the dealer plate on here. I have not gotten the title from the state yet to get it registered, but luckily we're still within the time frame of our drive-away plate there, so we're in good shape there. Overall, I really like this vehicle so far. Now let me tell you about the purchasing process for a minute. So first and foremost, I have to tell everybody, I have not did my video on financing your American dream yet. I'm going to do that shortly, but first and foremost, I need to tell you, I bought this vehicle outright. We bought it, we paid cash for it. There is no payment on this vehicle. And that's how I would recommend buying a vehicle. I know it's very commonplace nowadays to have a payment, and that's fine. A lot of people can make a payment. My recommendation is if you're going to buy a vehicle and stick with the vehicle for a long term, it's a very freeing feeling to own what you have and not have a payment that ties you down. You got to make that payment every month, no matter what's going on, right? The job's going good, job's going bad, you got to make that payment. The vehicle actually is not yours until you finish paying it off. So our purchasing process, I said I was looking for the JKs, and I kind of put that to the wayside. We had saved up, my wife and I had agreed that we would get this vehicle, or a vehicle similar to this, and I kind of set the JKs off to the side for a while because I didn't really like that transmission. It seemed to shift smooth, but the shift shake, it wasn't going to work for me. I live on a bumpy road, and I can't have the thing jumping out of a gear on me. So I waited, and I was going to sit on the money for another year, and typically I would buy a used vehicle, 1 to 3 years old. When we purchased my wife's truck, I want to say it was 3 years old, and it had 40-some thousand miles on it maybe, like new. It still smelled like a new vehicle, for crying out loud. In this case, I have an app on my phone. It's cars.com. I'd get on there every now and then and just kind of shop around to see what prices were, so I kind of know, doing my market research, and I've done this for a while. This is a 2018 model, and it is Super Bowl day today. So when I bought it, it was January, I don't know, 20th, 22nd or something like that. and I noticed that the leftover 18s that, you know, JK or JL started having some good discounts on them, and the dealer would give you, you know, several $1,000s off their list price, as well as I have my employer has a corporate discount that I could get a few $1,000s more off on it. So when I started doing the math on this and comparing what I could buy a used vehicle for, which you're not going to get any dealer discount or any employer discount because that applies to new vehicles, I compared the price of a used one, 2 years old, with, you know, 30,000-40,000 miles, versus a new one that I could get kind of a leftover model year, and I was surprised to find out that it was pretty close to the same. So this one, I believe, had additional dealer discount on it because it is a manual transmission, and believe it or not, Jeep people, it is hard to find a manual transmission. I thought all you Jeep folks were you know, gung-ho Jeep people were, you know, manual transmission and you know, all that stuff, but it is almost impossible to find a new Wrangler that is in a manual transmission because I think they're just so popular with the everyday driver now. But being that the manual's not popular, they had some extra cash off of this one, and you know, it didn't have a lot of options, and they ended up putting those running boards on, I think, as a selling point, just to try to move the vehicle. But long story short, we found it, and you know, it was a couple 100 miles from here, and I went to a local Jeep dealer and tried to get a similar deal. And Mike, you can turn that camera and follow me if you want. I tried to get a similar deal, and you know, the best they could do is, I think, $3,000 or $4,000 more than this one ended up being. So before tax tag and title, I think it was just a hair above 30,000, and out the door tax tag and title and everything was 34 and change. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. It is probably about $5,000 more than I intended to spend if I was going to buy a used one. Again, if I would have waited, you know, another year or two, I probably could have bought the same vehicle, probably $5,000 less. But in this case, you know, wife and I talked about it. We had the money. We were prepared to do it, and you know, we agreed on it. So here we go. So I'm looking forward to this summer when I can do some videos on taking the doors off and taking the top off, and you know, there's some mirrors that I have to get for when the doors are off to be able to drive this thing down the road. But I'm looking forward to a lot of good years here with this thing. And if you got comments on this vehicle or questions about it, I know Jeeps are very popular on YouTube, and the videos get a lot of traffic. So if you have questions or anything that you'd like me to try or do, questions about the JL versus the JK or any older ones, just let me know. Leave a comment down there, and we'll talk about it. So I forgot to say one thing before I close this video up. I did buy one thing for this Jeep so far, and in here there is a dash compartment up here that is built into the dash, and this piece here that you see with the rised up little plastic piece around here with this mount on here is something that I purchased for this vehicle. You take these two screws out and you drop this thing in there, put the two screws back in, and you have a phone holder. I'm a big advocate on making sure that you're safe while you're driving, and all of us use phones, and all of us use the navigation system to get around. So put your phone in there, put it where you want, connect to the stereo, and it's there. You don't have to be fumbling around. You don't need to be texting or any of that stuff, but you can use the phone in that mount right there. Kind of a hands-free situation, and it's pretty much required if you're driving a manual transmission, because you're going to need both legs and both hands to drive this vehicle. So that's it for now. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.